Okay, we could do that. Okay. No, right now the first segment's going to be on the phone.
On here?
Yeah, the first segment's going to be on the here, but we are streaming live right now. Greg just doesn't have the link yet. It's wonderful. It was great. A big spoon.
I was snoring in his ear.
And welcome to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. We are live and amplified from the city of San Luis Obispo on the campus of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo as UC Riverside is getting set to take on Cal Poly SLO tonight in Big West Conference play. And Jeff, we got to get this one tonight. This is a big game, and we got to get this one.
Yeah, it's a big game here. Both teams, Riverside's playing for their first win. Cal Poly's playing for their second win, but it's a playoff situation. If Riverside wins, they're tied, and if they beat them on their home floor, they have to go back to Riverside and play that second of that big game.
Yeah, so we're considering this a playoff game here for UC Riverside because if they win, they still are very much in the hunt for that final playoff spot along with Cal Poly. So ironically, they're going head-to-head here for what could be the final postseason berth in the Big West Conference postseason tournament when we get to the end. So this is kind of like a playoff game for both of these schools. Now, if you go back, Jeff, you'll remember that Cal Poly actually won their Big West opener against UC Santa Barbara in dramatic fashion inside the gym right behind us, Mott Gym. But they've lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
UCR's lost 7 in a row, so they're kind of in similar circumstances right now.
Yeah, Cal Poly had a 21-point deficit at halftime in that first game against UC Santa Barbara. It came down to a 50-foot shot. They were down 2 points. They fouled the guy 50 feet from the basket, and Cal Poly hits the 3 free throws to get the game winner. And like I said, down 21 and getting that first victory, you thought that would have carried some momentum for the Mustangs, but it didn't. It actually backfired. They end up losing the next several games, and now they're just 1 win in conference.
So this is a playoff game in all respects for both the Highlanders and the Mustangs tonight. Again, Jeff and I will have the call live at GoHighlanders.com. But first, the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We're proudly brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. You'll be spoiled by great customer service and low prices. Check them out off Alessandro Boulevard. Ken Sporting Goods, more than 40 years in the Inland Empire, taking care of all of your sporting gear needs, plus Letterman's jackets. Check them out at kensportinggoods.com. Boost Performance Training, athletes of all levels. Check out Boost Performance Training in Corona with Coach Ray Bass, bringing experience, passion, and commitment to grooming great athletes. Check out boosttrainingsystems.com and be sure to ask about the strength and speed class. The first one is free, but only if you say Jeff Gorham at the door. And Catalano Motors in Corona, where you can buy, trade, and finance that new-to-you car or truck. You have high expectations when buying a car, so let Catalano Motors meet those expectations and exceed them. They are committed to excellence off Temescal Canyon Road. So we'll spend the better part of the next 3 hours talking about Cal Poly basketball and their matchup here with UC Riverside tonight. And Jeff, we're going to have a guest later in the show, and a guy that we already ran into, Stanton Manu Maleuna out of Norte Vista High School, a football star here at Cal Poly.
Yeah, he had a great beginning to his freshman year, broke his hand, and was looking to be a starter. Ends up redshirting, but he's excited to be here. He's really adjusted to the school, the life of being a college student, and he's going to have a great career here at Cal Poly.
So we're going to have more on the Cal Poly football team, because we do have a bunch of guys from the Inland Empire that have migrated up here to Cal Poly to play Division I football. And Stanton Manu Maleuna is one of those guys. We got Kane Sua out of the Rancho Verde High School. We also have Nick Figueroa out of Cajon, just to name a few, but there's several guys from the IE playing football up here at Cal Poly, and we're efforting to get a bunch of those guys on the show as we navigate through the next 3 hours here, as we are live at Cal Poly for the Big West Conference game between the Highlanders and the Mustangs. And also, Jeff, as we were doing homework for this show, we discovered that the head football coach here for Cal Poly is a UC Riverside graduate. In fact, he played football for the Highlanders.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, if you think about Riverside, in the last 30 years, you don't think of football at UC Riverside, but at UC Riverside until 1975, I believe, it was a very, very good football program, and a lot of great players have played through the UC Riverside Highlanders that went on to have great careers.
Yeah, there were some UCR guys who went on to play professional football, and we're going to talk more about the history of UC Riverside football later in the show, because if you look at Cal Poly, this is a Division I program that is in the Big West Conference, and they found a way to make football work up here at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. So we just saw the beautiful football stadium they have here on campus. So when you look around the Big West Conference, there's not a lot of football. I mean, UC Davis has football, but they play what in the Big Sky, I think, for football, and that's where Cal Poly plays as well. But when you look around the Big West Conference, there's only a couple schools. Cal Poly is one of them that actually still plays Division I football. Now UCR, you know, go back, I think it was from, we have the exact dates, but it was from the 50s to the 70s. There's about 21 years where they played football at UC Riverside. And not to say that they have any hopes of bringing football back to UC Riverside, but if you look around the landscape of the Big West Conference, there are a couple other schools that have found a way to make it happen. So we'll talk more about UC Riverside football as well, because there are some similarities between here at UCR and also what they're doing here at Cal Poly, because it's pretty cool to have a Division I college football program at your campus. It feels like a real college campus, right, when you have a football stadium and a football team to cheer for.
Well, it really does, and I think that Cal Poly makes it work, because we've seen it. We've driven around. It took us about an hour and a half to find the gym today. It was like driving through a labyrinth here, but it's a thriving campus, and I mean it's alive in the sense that, you know, UC Riverside is known for being pretty much a commuter school. This is, you know, home to their thousands and thousands of students, and they can support an athletic football program here at Cal Poly, because there are so many people on campus and just right off campus that it's able to sustain a very, very terrific tradition here on Cal Poly campus.
Yeah, we got lost, to put it nicely. We got lost. We drove around campus. We went around the whole mulberry bush, up and down all the different streets. And we went around the football stadium a couple times, and we pulled up, and guess who I saw, Jeff?
Who did you see?
It was the Nard Dog.
The Nard Dog.
It's my boy B.J. Nard, a star defensive back here for Cal Poly, a guy that I used to cover quite a bit a long, long time ago. But he's got a huge, I don't know, it was
It
like
was
30 or 40 feet tall, right? Like a huge poster of him on the football stadium.
it was a billboard, and it was #1, and you said, yeah, that's the Nard Dog.
And you're like, you don't know
You
him.
don't know that guy. And he goes, yeah, it's from my old Bakersfield days. And I went, oh.
B.J. Nard, man.
The Nard Dog.
The Nard Dog. So he has a huge poster set up just outside the football stadium because, again, they're very proud of their football team and the tradition they have here. In fact, we were in the foyer. They've got a bunch of football trophies and what was it, a 1982 Division II National Championship.
Yes.
So they have a long story tradition in terms of the pigskin, and they're very proud of it here. And we've got a bunch of Inland Empire guys who have made their way up here to Cal Poly to play football. But today we're going to spend a lot of time talking basketball as well because it's UC Riverside taking on Cal Poly, Big West Conference play. Go ahead and consider this a playoff game. This is must-win time for both of these programs. We had a great time sitting down with head coach Justin Bell for a little bit, and we'll share a little bit of that. Not everything. We'll share a little bit of that as we go throughout the show. And a lot of national headlines going down, too, in the NBA and the NFL, so we will touch on those as well. We are live from Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo as the Highlanders will take on the Mustangs. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. And welcome back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. We are streaming live and amplified right now across the world on the Inland Sports YouTube channel, as well as here on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. Again, big game tonight between the Highlanders and the Mustangs. Kind of a playoff situation for both teams as they are both looking to get to the playoffs. And right now, one of these teams will not be going because, again, Jeff, how does the Big West Conference format work in terms of playoff seedings?
Well, they have 9 teams, obviously, in the league. Only the top 8 make the Big West tournament in March, where they play at the the Pond, I guess you'd call it now. I don't know, or the Honda Center. So the top 8 must make it. Riverside is on the outside looking in right now in that 9th spot.
Well, I faced up so I can actually see you now. Now,
Well,
because before we were kind of like standing shoulder to shoulder, and we're in the the safe confines of the studio with Greg Holla, who's doing a great job back at home in Riverside. I'm facing you. I can look into your eyes and we can talk sports. But we were shoulder to shoulder. It was weird. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like going to a restaurant and sitting like you're in a booth and you sit on the same side.
You know, I want to add this. You brought that up. Now, when you and your wife go to a restaurant, do you ever sit on the same side? Have you ever done that in your marriage?
Probably.
You know, my
but
wife,
not recently, no.
Yeah, Smedberg made me do that once, and it was the most awkward thing ever because, you know, you can't really see. You're just like shoulder to shoulder. I like to look at the person a little bit. So, yeah, it's kind of nice. And we got to say where we are right now. We're in front of the gym here at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo Mott Gym.
Yeah.
And we're outside, and we're looking at the co-eds here.
The quad's right in front of us. And if we want to go full disclosure, so we get into the gym and UCR is doing their shoot around and getting ready for their big contest tonight. And, you know, hey, Jeff, here's our checklist. You know, we need to get internet. We need to get reliable power. We need to do this. We need to do that. And Jeff's like, you know what? I heard there's a Chick-fil-A on campus, right?
Of course that's what I go for is the Chick-fil-A. But we ended up walking around, and there was all kinds of different things. They had pizza, they had burritos, they had the commons where the kids eat, and we decided to go with pizza.
Oh, you know what? There's another story we got to share because, again, Jeff and I, we mind our own business, and somehow funny things just find us. So we're going in there, and we're going to get a quick bite to eat before we jump on here on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, the Inland Sports Show. So we're in line to get pizza. And Jeff's like, you know what, Pep? You drove up here. I'm going to buy you lunch. I was like, Jeff, you don't have to do that. Totally, you don't have to do that. I can buy my own food. And you're like, no, I insist. Let me buy your lunch. And the cashier working at, what is it, the Mustang
Pizza Place.
Pizza Place. What did she say to you, Jeff?
She said, what did she say? She goes, oh, he's a sweetheart.
She said, he's a sweetheart. I said, what? I said, hold on. What did you say?
She said, I was a sweetheart.
And she said, no, yeah, he's a sweetheart. I'm like, oh, my gosh. Here we go.
And was she not as cute as a button?
She was.
She was adorable. And she looked at me in the eyes, and I felt a connection. She called me a sweetheart.
She called you a sweetheart.
And then when I went and got my soda pop across the way, I looked at her and we met eyes, and she smiled at me again.
Yeah, you know what? I did notice she was keeping an eye on us. I don't know if she thought we were going to steal something.
She was keeping an eye on me. Because, hey, admit it, 3 other people said hello to me in the quad when we were sitting there.
Yeah, you know what? We discovered that the people here are actually very, very friendly. Not that we're surprised, but we had several people, guys and gals, from out of the blue just say, hey, how's it going? And we're like, hey, we're doing well. Thank you. How are you? Yeah,
it was wonderful. And I'll tell you what, I want to go back to college. And if I could go back to college right now, I might have to come here. It's sunny. It's a happening place. I mean, the students are out of class right now. They're like laying on the grass, playing hacky sack, you know, hanging out, having fun.
It's like 75 degrees. The sun is out. This is a college football school. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of reasons to love this place. So it's been pretty fun. We got in late last night. We got over here. Wow, we've been here for several hours now.
Yeah.
And we've been hanging out and eating some pizza and hanging out with Stanton Manu Malauna from Norte Vista High School.
You know what? I've been around that young man for years, and I've never can ever say his last name.
You have to break it up. You have to break it up into parts.
Well, Stanton is one of my all-time favorites.
You even shortened Stanton. You just called him Stan.
Stan's one of my all-time favorite students. He was a Norte Vista guy. He was in Smedberg's class. I think he had a crush on Smedberg. That's why he was always so nice to my wife. But man, he's like I said, adjusting well here, and he seemed happy.
Like everyone's happy here.
Why wouldn't you be? Look at it. It's beautiful out here.
I'll make you a deal, Jeff. How about this?
Okay.
Because I know there's a lot of people out there listening to the Inland Sports Show on
They
Fox
do.
Sports IE 1350 AM, which we'll talk about that too.
Yes.
Because it sounds like we're taking over the Inland Empire, which is a great thing. But I think a lot of people probably don't believe that someone actually called you a sweetheart. I'll make you a deal.
Okay.
In one of these breaks, if you actually make that short little walk to the Mustang Pizza House or whatever it's called.
I'm going to go get her. If
you get her, we'll put her on the air because we may need some verification that she actually called you a sweetheart, because I think most people would be like, nah, that's one of Jeff's made-up stories here live on the air.
No, it's a real one. And she was, I mean, blonde, adorable. Like like the prototypical beautiful co-ed. And she, we made eyes. If she's still working her shift, we might have to bring her over.
They got good pizza. They even had a place where they're building surfboards. Did you see that over there by the pizza place?
Yeah, they're building surfboards. I guess we must be close to the ocean.
Yeah, we're real close.
Yeah, we drove up the coast. Last night all we saw was darkness. It was like driving on the moon. It was so dark.
Jeff and I had a fast food feast. I won't say their name because they're not sponsoring. We'd love to bring them on board. But we had a fast food feast before we got here.
Not as big as my lunch though yesterday. Let's be honest here.
What did you have for lunch yesterday, Jeff?
I had 3 chili cheese dogs and 2 corn dogs. So I really wasn't. I really was not
all
ready.
All in one sitting.
All in one sitting. I was. I felt horrible. And then you said, "Hey, let's pull over here." So I said, but I didn't go crazy.
No.
You had
pretty modest dinner.
It was pretty modest. But, man, I slept well. There was no babies crying. There was just Pep making little noises. Little Pep.
Is that what it was?
I said, what is that little noise? Sounded like a squirrel. It was actually Pep just sleeping.
Sleeping.
Yeah.
We also had a chance to go down memory lane with Stanton Manu Maleuna as we went down the Hall of Fame here at Cal Poly, pointing out all the famous people.
Oh, some big ones.
Yeah, guys from the Inland Empire as well. So a little bit later in the show, we'll talk about some of the famous folks that have gone through here at Cal Poly, also from the city of San Luis Obispo. Because everywhere we go, Jeff, we seem to do like a history lesson. We are at UC Irvine, and we found out that they were national champions in sailing like 6 years in a row. Strong in the sailing game.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of famous people as well, including Scott Brooks, who jumped on your back.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of famous people, so we're going to talk about that as well. Really quick, though, a couple of the national headlines that we're following here on the Inland Sports Show, Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. The trade that went down last night, so we got into San Luis Obispo late last night, and we fired up the old television, find out Alex Smith was traded from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Washington Redskins. My initial reaction, Jeff, is that Kirk Cousins, the quarterback of the Redskins, and the new quarterback, Alex Smith of the Redskins, kind of the same guy, although Alex Smith more consistent, safe, right? And Kirk Cousins may be a little more explosive on offense, but I feel like they're kind of the same guy in terms of, is this a guy that's going to take you from a 9-7 record to, something like 12-4? Like, I don't know. I don't think that's a huge gap between Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith.
No, I don't think it's a big gap, but I think the biggest thing is they don't have to franchise tag Cousins again this year.
That's true.
Which would have cost them an arm and a leg. They still take on the contract of Alex Smith, which is a lot of money, but it's not near the money you would have had to pay if you franchised Cousins.
And the other big news was Kevin Love of the Cavaliers breaking his hand. Looks like 6 to 8 weeks he'll be on the shelf. Cleveland's already a mess. The Cavaliers have some internal things going on. They definitely don't look like the best team in the Eastern Conference. It looks like maybe Boston right now. So with Kevin Smith going down, I know the trade deadline is next Thursday, February 8th. So we'll see if the Cavaliers make some moves to kind of bolster up in the East. And then also the Clippers, man, what else are they going to do, Jeff? I mean, they already traded Blake Griffin away, and we had Tim Hatch in studio yesterday, the biggest Detroit Pistons fan we know of. So there's at least one guy in the Inland Empire who's fired up about getting Blake Griffin to the Pistons. But do you think the Clippers, or maybe even the Lakers, are going to be moving here before trading deadline?
Well, let's first address the Kevin Love broken hand situation. He was an all-star, and everybody, says, oh, Kevin Love is really the problem child of Cleveland. He's not doing this, he's not doing that.
You think he takes a lot of the blame?
I think he takes a brunt of the blame, but, he's voted in as an all-star. He's a heck of a player, but you got to remember, Toronto's out there. Toronto's the beast of the East right now. They've got the most athletic team. They're similar in the sense that they can score in bunches like Golden State. But, you know, like you said, Boston, if everybody's healthy, they're pretty unstoppable. The only thing is, you got to play the Western teams, and the Western teams have what? They have Golden State Warriors. They have teams that can score, and that's just a totally different animal than the East. But the Clippers, I still think have a lot of moves to be made. I know that Doc Rivers says that they're going to stay pat, but Doc Rivers, they've taken that role as president and general manager of the team. So if he says one thing, and you see that they've already made, you know, they get rid of their franchise player in Griffin, I think they're going to make more moves. I don't know if they get rid of Williams, but I do think DeAndre Jordan is on that block.
Well, we'll see. We've got the better part of the next week now coming up before the trade deadline to see if they do anything. And we looked this up because we were curious if the Clippers would actually see the Pistons anytime soon, because Blake Griffin in a Detroit uniform, I think we're pretty all anxious to see that. I know, again, Tim Hatch from Michigan, big Detroit Pistons fan. He's all fired up about it. And ironically, they do play, the Clippers play at Detroit next Friday night.
Yeah, and really, I know Tim's excited just because he gets Detroit back in the mixes. You know, they got Drummond, they got Reggie Jackson, not Mr. October, and you have Griffin. That's essentially the same team as the Clippers had when they were with Lob City.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, you have
Drummond's the DeAndre Jordan, right?
Chris Paul is the
Reggie
Jackson.
Although Reggie Jackson's probably a poor man's Chris Paul, but yes.
Similar team, and like I had told Tim yesterday, in 2005, that's a heck of a team. Yeah. But basketball has changed, and we talked about this. It's really changed. It's a stretched 94 feet rather than the half-court, offenses and defenses in the playoffs. Nobody plays that in the playoffs anymore. It's a run-and-gun mentality.
All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports Show. Jeff, are you ready to talk about Dan Buns?
Dan.
Do you know
Buns.
Dan Buns?
Dan Buns. I reached out to a buddy of mine, and I know the family. That's how.
So it is the family. You are correct.
I am the family. Yes.
All right. So Dan Buns, a former UC Riverside football star, as we talk Highlander football, because again, there was a 21-year span where UC Riverside actually played football. Now that we're here at Cal Poly, where they have a great football program, we want to reminisce a little bit about Highlander football and some of the guys that went through there, because Dan Buns was a local guy who went on to play for a long time in the NFL, including the 49ers, where he won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, in fact, his brother Ben
Buns?
Yeah, I'm not kidding around. His name is Ben
Buns.
Yeah, I reached out, like I said, Mark Guard at Harupa Valley. He was the assistant principal at Rubino and Harupa Valley, and brother of Dan Buns, and played at UC Riverside as well. So the brothers connection and the great Dan Buns.
Brothers Buns.
I know.
When we come back, it's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. And welcome back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. A very special live edition from the campus of Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. It is a beautiful day, 75 degrees. Sun is out, slight breeze. And, Jeff, we are set up just in front of, is it Mott Gym, Mott Athletic Center? I see Athletic Center here on the side of the big arena on campus.
Yeah, we're right in front of Mott Gym, but every time you say Mott Gym, you know what I'm thinking of?
The applesauce.
You're darn right.
Mott's.
I'm thinking applesauce.
You got the Mott's?
I got the Mott's, man. And I'm just telling you right now, if you couldn't ask for a nicer place to do the show from.
If you're watching us live and amplified right now on the Inland Sports Channel, I'll step away for a moment. You can kind of see the lay of the landscape. If you're looking in the far off distance, that's like the quad area where all the food and the surfboards and where kind of people hang out here on campus. And then the gymnasium is just offset, so all the student section, again, it's bustling here, so all the students makes it real easy for them to pop into the gym and go check out some Cal Poly basketball. And again, it's the Highlanders, it's the Mustangs. Tonight, Big West Conference game for both of these schools, as they are both looking to finish inside of the top 8 for that postseason Big West Conference tournament. So we were talking a little Cal Poly football here, and we had his name's escaping me now, but we had a guy out of the sports information department here at Cal Poly come over, and we were talking about teams from the Big West Conference who used to play football. And Jeff, what was on our short list here of schools that used to have football but are still currently in the Big West Conference?
Okay, you have obviously you had UC Riverside, you had Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, UC Santa Barbara, and then the big one, the last one I remember quite well was
Fullerton, right?
Long Beach State.
Yeah, Long Beach State.
Fullerton had football as well.
And Cal State Northridge, who was San Fernando State.
Yeah, San Fernando State. All of those schools had great programs. But I was telling you the story of the legendary former Rams coach George Allen was the last coach at Long Beach State.
Yeah, you asked me, do you remember the last coach at Long Beach State? And I said no. And you're like, you know what? When you hear this guy's name, you're going to be like, oh, my gosh, that's a huge name.
He's in the Hall of Fame, for gosh sakes. And here's the story behind the weird story that ended Long Beach State's football program and supposedly ended the life of George Allen. George Allen, after the last game they coached at Long Beach State, he was doused with Gatorade. He went into pneumonia a week later, and they thought maybe it was from the Gatorade shower, and he died.
How bizarre is that?
Yes, so they could say that might have killed the program.
The Gatorade bath?
Killed the Hall of Famer, George Allen, the NFL Hall of Famer.
So he got so wet and cold
that he died.
Pneumonia sunk in.
Yeah, so Gatorade killed him.
Oh, my gosh.
That's terrible.
No, I did not know that.
Well, I'm a bastion of knowledge, my friend.
Man. So if you think about it, if Big West schools still had all their football programs, that'd be a pretty fun football conference between UC Riverside and, of course, Cal Poly here. Even though they're Division I football still. Fullerton, Long Beach State, Santa Barbara, throw Northridge in there. Davis has football. So between Davis and Cal Poly, the two Big West schools that currently play football, got a football conference right there.
Hey, you have Hawaii that was, as part of the Mountain West.
Oh, that's
Conference.
right. You got Hawaii who has football.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good athletic program. Great thoughts of the old days of football. But if going back to really function and carry a football program, you have to be in a situation like we are here at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, because the student body really supports the program, because so many people live on campus and right off campus that they're.
Well, that's the first thing you said when we got lost and we were driving all over the place. You're like, this is definitely not a commuter campus.
It's not. It's one of those campuses like a UC Berkeley or San Diego State, where there's just so many students and there's no other place for them to go but on campus or be at their house. And we drove around campus, like I said, the labyrinth of the school, and there was pockets of apartments everywhere, dorms, apartments, and homes that really fully supported this entire institution here.
Yeah, and what's up with all these roads? Like, we literally got lost every turn we took. Like, there's all these little roads, and some of them literally go nowhere. They just cul-de-sacs, dead ends, and we found where the parking garage was, and we found where the stadium, the arena was, but like we couldn't get the two to connect. You know what I mean?
No.
Like we were going in the opposite direction, and we were circling around, and we were asking people. And one guy, I mean, he had a Cal Poly sweater on, so he, you know what I mean? Like when you, so hold on. So here's my theory, Jeff, and back me up on this as we talk about being lost here on campus. If you wear your school sweater while going to school there, you're probably a visitor or taking a tour. Like I never wore my own school's gear when I was there, but when I would go like back home, or I had graduated from there, like Humboldt State, then I would wear that stuff. But I would not wear like Humboldt stuff when I was at Humboldt. Were you that guy? Would you wear your own school's gear like when you were at that school?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you why though. And a lot of guys.
Because you were on the team, right?
Yeah, and, you know, I wanted to pick up chicks. So if I wore my basketball stuff on campus, they go, "Hey." And I go, "Hey, how you doing?" But no, here's the deal: the reason I wore all the uniform or the gear is because that was the only clothes I had that would fit me. I would always, you know, you'd have basketball gear, or football players would give you football gear, and it was just easier. And I was kind of a sloppy guy, anyways, so I might as well. So yeah, I wore the gear.
Well, we're, again, live at Cal Poly. We finally made our way here after getting lost several times. Big basketball game tonight. And again, we were talking Cal Poly football. And the fact that they are one of the few Big West schools that still play football, along with Davis, and Jeff mentioned Hawaii as well. But UC Riverside had football from 1955 to 1975. That was 21 years of Highlander football. And you're speaking of the last coach at Long Beach State, George Allen, right? Mm-hmm. Well, there was a big name who was the last football coach at UC Riverside as well, and that was Bob Toledo.
Hey, former UCLA head coach.
And went on to UCLA. So they had some big names go through there as well, including guys who played at UC Riverside, played football for the Highlanders, and they went on to have NFL careers. And who was the first name that you thought of? You said there was one name, remember, that you mentioned.
Was it Butch Johnson?
Yeah, the receiver for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, he was a big-time player in the NFL. There was also, who was the last guy, the receiver?
There was a couple of them. There was a list of about 7 or 8 guys who had substantial NFL careers that came out of UC Riverside. And I was reading the list to you. This was late at night. This was like midnight as we're, you know, tucking ourselves into bed last night here in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, and you were easy to tuck into bed. You know, I just gave you your little warm milk and your Ritz crackers.
Yeah, that's true. That's a true story. So, you know, we turn out the lights, and Jeff and I are having pillow talk. And I'm like, you know, Jeff, let's look up UC Riverside football. And I was reading off the names of these guys who played for UCR and went on to play in the NFL. And I read one of the names, and you're like, I know that guy. And it was linebacker Dave Buns, who
Dan
Buns, who played who won 2 Super Bowls with the San Francisco 49ers. And you're like, I know the Buns family.
Yeah, I do. I had a chance to work at Harupa Valley High School, and his brother was the assistant principal, and he used to come down to the basketball games, and I remember he would wear a big Super Bowl ring.
Dan Buns?
Dan Buns would wear a Super Bowl ring, and his brother, the Buns brothers.
Ben Buns.
Big Buns.
There's Ben Buns and Dan Buns.
And I'm telling you, Ben Buns, they were both large guys.
That's a lot of buns.
A lot of buns. There was giant buns, just 2 giant buns there. But he would go to the basketball games, and our buddy Mark Gard, a friend of mine, was like, yeah, he played in the NFL, won a couple Super Bowls, and you could see him wearing the big giant anchor of a ring.
That's so funny.
The Bun squared.
Bun squared. So Dan won 2 Super Bowls with the San Francisco 49ers. He was a linebacker. So we looked up UCR again. Bob Toledo was the last head coach of the Highlanders when they closed the program. He coached there in 74 and 75, and the football program, according to Wikipedia at least, and you know, for the most part Wikipedia is pretty accurate, but people can go on there and manipulate anything they want. But according to Wikipedia, it says the football program at the University California Riverside was discontinued because of a lack of attendance and poor gate receipts for the reasons there. And it says Toledo and his staff, they were still under contract through looks like half of 1976, so maybe they were still kind of holding on to hope that they could revitalize that program, but it was not to be, because again, the last time we had football, 75 at UC Riverside. Jeff, did you, or maybe your family, your parents, did anyone that you were around go to UC Riverside football games?
Oh yeah, my older brother Justin, you know, he's 4 years older than him. I was 5 at the time. I'm sure I went. If that makes sense, I probably was running around.
Just don't remember it.
No, but my brother, my father, my mom and dad and my brother would go to the games quite a bit when it was in the early 70s, and it was a big deal. I still remember when they canceled the program. I do remember this, is that people were really sad to see it go. It was a really kind of cool. You used to go to RCC games on Saturdays, and then if UCR was away, you would you vice versa. You go either to an RCC football game or a UC Riverside football game. So it was kind of cool.
It's tough at the time. They were Division II, right? UC
Yes.
Riverside. If you look around the landscape of Division II football programs, it's tough to keep football around. I think Sonoma State, they had football, no longer. I know Chico State had football at one point. They're a Division II, no longer. Humboldt State is a Division II that has football, and they're trying to take it away. And Humboldt State is doing everything they can to keep football on their campus. So it's been really tough for the Lumberjacks to keep football at Humboldt State. We look at a school like Azusa Pacific University. That's a Division II school here in Southern California. So I think it's just tough for a lot of these programs to keep football, although they generate large sums of revenue, which help the entire university. It's tough to keep football around, and all you have to do is look at some of these Division II schools, like a UC Riverside, that lost their program, and then also at the Division I level, if you had a Big West Conference full of football teams, it would look a lot different. Look at the WAC now. Remember, the WAC used to be a football conference for college football. That used to be the Hawaiis, the Fresno States, the San Diego States. That
BYU?
BYU. That used to be the WAC. Now you look at the WAC now, it's a non-football conference. All the schools in that conference, they don't even offer football. They're all Division I, but they don't offer football.
Grand Canyon's undefeated, though, in football.
Never won, never lost, right?
Yeah, it's in their commercial. I see it every night at like 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm feeding baby Zika. I'm like, hey, look, they're undefeated in football.
They still haven't lost.
But yeah, I think the problem is now, and it's nice that schools are still fighting like Humboldt, you said, but a lot of teams, it's just if you don't get people to show up, you have to make money. It's a revenue-making sport. If you can't make money, you can't support it, and it's really tough because it costs a bundle to fund college football at this point.
The travel expenses alone, I'm sure, is astronomical. And then let's say you have a roster of 100 guys. I mean, that's a lot of equipment. That's a lot of food. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it adds up quickly. But in return, if you could sell out a football stadium, you're going to bring in a lot of money for the school.
Oh, yeah, you bring a lot of money in for the school. You bring for all of the athletic programs. You're able to fund, the tennis programs that don't generate money because you can go watch tennis for free at a lot of these universities.
Yeah.
You can go watch baseball for free at a lot of these universities. And those universities that have successful programs are funded by their football programs. The Pac-12 funds most of their other sports because of their football and basketball programs.
Well, it's fun to at least think about the possibility of what if UC Riverside was able to keep football, or what if they were able to somehow find a way to bring it back, because man, it would be awesome to have a Division I football team in the Inland Empire, because right now we really hang our hat on the University of Redlands, a Division III program, which if you haven't been to a U of R game, you're missing out because it's a lot of fun. It feels like a genuine college environment, student section, cheerleaders, mascot, it's loud, and the place is packed. Like, it's good college football, and we love the U of R, but it'd be pretty cool to see like a school like UCR. We joked around about CBU bringing football on.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, but it would be pretty cool to see some football, Division I football here in the IE, because it can be done. All you have to do is look at Cal Poly, look at Davis, look at Hawaii. They're doing it in these other places at Big West schools.
Well, yeah, and I honestly, if you could take Cal Baptist and give it twice the size of a campus they're on now, and you bring in 25,000 students, because that would really support a football program. Right now, that I'd say if you took 8,000 students, and I'm just saying, throwing out there, and 4,000 of them live on campus at Cal Baptist, 3,999 show up for every event on campus.
Yeah.
But you just can't, because they don't have the space, they don't have the housing to support it.
Yeah, it takes a huge infrastructure to make football happen.
Yeah, it would be cool. It'd be nice. Maybe, who knows, 20 years down the line, something could happen.
Yeah. And if anything does, we'll be the first to bring it to you, right?
We'll still be around 20 years.
We'll still be around. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, we will tell you why UC Riverside is heading down the path of the Cleveland Browns.
No.
I don't want to say it. We're going to fight it, but it might happen.
Oh, I hope
not. We hope not. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. welcome back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, live on the campus of Cal Poly. And Jeff, we've seen it all. I even see students walking around their dogs. You see that? It's not the first dog we've seen either.
There's dogs walking around. Yeah, it's great. I'm telling you, man, I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to start over. I'm going to get a new major.
You asked me, is this similar to Humboldt State? Because it's kind of similar environments. And I said, Humboldt State, everyone was doing hacky sack, little hacky sack circles, and everyone had their dogs on hemp leashes.
I'm sure there was a lot of hemp going around somewhere up there in Humboldt.
Lots of hemp necklaces and, bracelets and dog collars. A
lot of funny smells, probably.
Patchouli oil.
Yeah, definitely.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier. Honestly, I'm long in the tooth, and I'm walking around campus, and everybody's telling me I'm a sweetheart. But the one thing I've noticed.
Everybody or just that one girl?
Well, in my mind, everybody said I was a sweetheart. But, walking around, there's one thing that has changed since I was in college.
What's that?
Everybody wears yoga pants, including the guys.
There's a lot of yoga pants.
A lot of
flip-flops and yoga pants.
And shorts that would fit Johnny.
It's like those it's like the running shorts. Although they're not runners, they're just kind of wearing them. Right?
The old dolphin shorts. Do you remember?
Yes,
they're the old dolphin shorts.
Did you wear those?
No.
What about like those old?
I'm a grown man.
The OP, the Ocean Pacific
I had
corduroys.
OPs. I had stubbies and OPs. And then when you ran really hard, it would burn your legs because the corduroy would burn.
You'd start a fire just rubbing the legs together.
Hey, we're going to be joined by Stan.
When's Stan the man coming?
After 5 o'clock, he's going to bring Nick with him.
Big Nick Figueroa?
Yeah, Nick Figueroa.
Wonderful.
Nick has class until 5 o'clock, so they're going to run over, and they want to get on the Inland Sports Show.
Awesome. So Nick Figueroa, star defensive end from Cajon High School in San Bernardino, now here at Cal Poly. Look at that dog go. And then also Stanton Manu Maleuna out of Norta Vista High School. I'm sorry, I'm infatuated with this dog. They're like running around dogs around here on campus. So they will both join us, both guys from the Inland Empire, now playing college football here at Cal Poly. And again, class comes first, right, Jeff? We got to make sure they go to class, and when they have the free time at 5 o'clock, we'll bring them over here to our little mobile studio. Look, 2 more dogs. I can't even make this like right on cue, like as if we were talking about this.
And I just got a text from Ken Batdorf. Ken Batdorf just
Kenny football, yeah, sure.
Yeah, he says there's so many things have changed since you were at school. And I said, what is that? And he goes, they now have computers.
Computers, yeah.
I computers.
Cars, electricity.
Yeah.
Electricity, yeah, all that new stuff.
How dare you, Ken Batdorf, as you drive.
Air conditioning, all kinds of new fancy things.
Fancy, yeah. I used an abacus in my math class.
Well, we're proudly brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change, Ken Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training, and Catalano Motors in Corona off Temescal Canyon Road. Again, we are live at Cal Poly as we're getting set for UC Riverside taking on Cal Poly tonight outside of Mott Athletics Center. And again, we're set up in a great spot just outside of the gym, the arena, and then the quad is right in front of us where all the food is, which Jeff likes. And his nose took us to the pizza. So are you going to go in the next break and see if you can track down your favorite Cal Poly student?
I might have to go over and see.
Because she called Jeff a sweetheart, and I don't know if she knew exactly what she was getting herself into when she said that, because Jeff doesn't hear sweetheart very often.
No, I usually hear you're a weirdo.
Who's the grumpy weird guy? That's Jeff.
The salty, angry guy.
So here's the deal. I don't want UC Riverside to be compared to the Cleveland Browns. No, because so look at the Cleveland Browns. They went 0-16 this year, right? They did not win a single game.
And they went 1-15 last year.
It's not very good.
No.
They went winless this year. So remember this number, 0-16, okay?
Okay.
How many teams, Jeff, are in the Big West Conference? Just humor me and answer these questions. How many teams are in the Big West?
9.
9. Okay. So that means UCR is going to play all 8 of the schools, correct?
Yes.
And how many times do they play each of those schools?
Twice.
So if they went winless through Big West Conference play, they would finish Big West Conference play
0-16. Oh, my.
They would be the Cleveland Browns of the Big West Conference. I don't want that. You don't want that. Head coach Justin Bell doesn't want that for sure. They got to get a win tonight.
Yeah, tonight's very important. If you want to get playing at the Pond in Anaheim in that Big West Conference, they're going to have to take one away here on the road at Cal Poly because they're going to have to play them again.
Yeah.
And you got to sweep this. This is one of those games you got to sweep this series in order to get in.
So, I mean, you probably don't want to put too much pressure on your guys, but going into this game, would you kind of get them in the locker room and say, guys, consider this a playoff game, like win or go home? We have to have this game in order to at least stay alive to find that the 8th and final spot for the Big West Conference tournament. Because like you said, if you lose tonight, you're really backed into a wall. Can you still get out between that rock and a hard place? Yeah, you still could. But a win tonight, even though it's just one win, would go a long ways in getting them to that postseason tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it sets them back 2 games out of the 8th spot. You got to be in that 8th spot when you leave tonight here at Cal Poly. And if I'm a coach, and I was at one time, this is what I say to you guys. I say, look, you better win.
Look.
I know.
You better win.
You better win, or I'm going to kick your ass. That's how I would have said it.
No. You get straight to the point, right?
No, but you got to think about it, and you got to say, look, guys, this is win or go home. This is what you worked hard for. You practice every single day, 2.5 hours every day, and you've been doing it for months. This is the payoff. You might have had struggles. You lose Dikembe Martin for whoever knows how long. You have Alex Larson, you're Mr. Reliable, has a badly sprained ankle, and guys have to step up because if they don't, their season could be over tonight.
And they don't want that. They don't want to finish in last place. There's only one team in the Big West Conference that will not make the Big West tournament. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be that one team. Who was that one team last year? It was Santa Barbara, wasn't it?
Santa Barbara. In fact, the reason that Hawaii would have been that, because Hawaii was on probation, and the NCAA overturned the probation right after the last day of the season, and they allowed Hawaii into the tournament.
We don't want to be that team.
No.
We don't want to be that last place team. So tonight is huge, and if you look at UC Riverside, they're 0-7. Cal Poly's 1-6, but that win was their first Big West game of the season, and that was against their biggest rival too, UC Santa Barbara. And they were up big. UC Santa Barbara was up by like 20 or 21 points, something like that.
They were up 21 at halftime.
Yes.
Santa Barbara, has the leading scorer in the conference, the leading rebounder in the conference, and they laid an egg in the second half. The last second, with 1 second left on the clock, UC Santa Barbara fouls a Cal Poly shooter 50 feet from the basket.
50 feet.
50 feet. You foul. You never foul anybody.
So he probably saw he was going to be fouled and just hoisted up a shot just to get those 3 free throws.
Threw up a prayer. They're down 2 points. He makes all 3 free throws, and they walk away with a 1-point victory.
That's unbelievable.
But then
that's their one win.
Their sole win.
So they beat UC Santa Barbara in dramatic fashion, a game that they probably should have lost. And you look at UCR, who's just coming off that game against UC Santa Barbara, correct?
Correct.
No DK, no Alex Larson, and UC Riverside still almost beat them.
Yeah, and Riverside, like we said, they've only had one blowout game in conference all season, and that's really been their Achilles heel the last 2 seasons. The same team is UC Irvine. UC Irvine, there just seems to be a big matchup problem with Riverside and Irvine.
Now, did Justin Bell tell us the last 2 times they've come up to Cal Poly, they've won?
They've won the last 2.
So they've had success in this gym.
Yes, they have. They've had success here. They've won the last 3 at University of Hawaii. So
so there's certain places for whatever reason, right?
That they play very well, and hopefully that they can take that momentum from the last 2 years and beat them for a 3rd time in a row here.
And this is your first time on campus. You didn't call this game last year.
No, I didn't. I called the game at UC Riverside, but I was not on the road last year for this. And honestly, it's the gym itself looks like it was made by Rosie the Riveter. It's completely made out of metal, and there's rivets all over the place. And it's like a Quonset hut almost.
There's huge nails right
nails.
here on the ground. It's like a big field house,
It
right?
is.
But it's very nice.
It's very nice.
Like a big field house.
Yeah, it's very cool. But like you said, you look around and there's rivets all over the gym. It looks like literally like you're in the belly of a battleship.
So what we had to figure out, and tell me if you were kind of confused at first. So UC Riverside had their shoot around at what, 11:30?
Yes.
Okay, and they said, okay, Cal Poly shoot around is at 3, right?
Yes.
Okay, so UCR finished up about 1 o'clock. So they said, okay, guys, and this was Justin Bell. He's like, guys, get your stuff. We got to get off the court. We got to be respectful because another team is coming in for their shoot-around. I was thinking to myself, wait, hold on. You guys just finished your shoot-around at 1, and Cal Poly's not scheduled to come in until 3. That's a 2-hour gap in between. Who's coming in to have their shoot-around? Lo and behold, right on cue, the Hawaii women's basketball team was here.
They were here. They play tomorrow night, apparently, is what we were told, and they had a full-on practice.
Yeah, it was a real practice. We kept thinking that was going to be a quick shoot-around. We'll get back inside the gym. No, they locked it down. They went hard. The coach was getting into them, and, there was a serious practice out here.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I would trade being out here. Or I would trade being in there to be out here any day. This is beautiful out here. Well, this is one of the nicer setups. People are walking by looking at us like we're crazy out here.
Yeah, because we talk kind of loud, and all these – if you don't have your earbuds in, which most people do have their earbuds in, right, because they're listening to music or just kind of being cool or doing whatever they do. But most people, they walk by and they're like, why are those guys being so loud? What's going on over there?
Why is there so many wires coming out of that table and stuff? Yeah, but it's cool.
We were sitting down and enjoying our pizza over in the quad, and I looked at Jeff and I said, do you think Cal Poly realizes they have – 2 big-time radio stars right here on their campus right now?
No, they had no idea.
We're just the weird guys over here talking loud with the microphones.
Yeah, no one wanted pictures with us or autographs or anything.
Well, we're going to take a break in just a couple minutes, but, we might send Jeff over to the snack bar because I would love to get that girl on the show and have her say, why did she call Jeff a sweetheart? Because that would be pretty funny radio.
But what if she doesn't remember she called me a sweetheart?
She'll be like, she'll deny it the whole time. No, I don't know who that guy is.
I might walk over there.
He looks kind of creepy. I would never say something like that to him. Big weird guy.
Hey, she was cute. Smedberg said I can get a sister wife. I'll ask her.
To clean. Ask her if she likes to clean, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
Clean and do laundry.
Hey, she can make pizza.
She can make pizza. But, yeah, everyone's been very nice. Remember, we were just sitting there eating. Like, hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, some parts of Southern California, people just yell at you for sitting there looking at them. I was sitting looking at people, and people were saying hi. It was nice. It was wonderful. A lot of yoga pants, though.
Yeah.
More yoga pants than you could throw a stick at.
So it's UCR taking on Cal Poly tonight inside the Mott Gym. Big West Conference play. UC Riverside currently at 0-7 and a 9-game losing streak overall dating back to those final 2 non-conference games when they went to Seattle and Utah Valley. So if you take those 2 and combine it with Big West Conference play, a 9-game skid. But the good news is it's going to end. We saw Justin Bell in the shoot-around with his guys. The morale is still good. They're all still positive. They're all still working hard, and Justin Bell is putting more energy into this more than ever now. So if you're a concerned UCR fan, I know the losses sting, but don't be, because this team has not given up. No,
and like I said, no, you don't see guys' faces hanging. You see guys. Well, we're lucky enough to kind of see them around each other. There's no divisions. Everybody sits together. Everybody's laughing. In fact, we were having breakfast this morning, and they were singing "Happy Birthday."
That's right.
So I mean, it's a good. They're still positive. They like each other. The coaching staff likes each other. It's a cohesive unit. They're just missing something every single game. They're in every game, other than the Irvine game that's been close games.
Yeah, it's always just something. You know what I mean? They're always right there. They're outside of the UC Irvine game, which even Coach Bell would admit, like, that one got away from them. Something about playing at UC Irvine is very difficult for the Highlanders. But outside of that one, they've been in every single game. I know they're 0-7 in Big West Conference play, but they've been in every single game.
Yeah, we had a chance to spend a great deal amount of time with Justin Bell this morning. We had a fun conversation. We talked for about a half hour, and his spirits still seemed high. He's coaching just like he would as a player, he said, and he really hasn't lost sight of the prize is to get a couple wins, because anybody can win that tournament.
Yeah, you just got to get to the tournament.
Get to the tournament and play 2 games, and you're in the championship of the Big West tournament.
It's kind of like the new playoff format for the CIF Southern Section, like for football. We talk about it all the time. You don't have to win your league to get in, but you want to finish high enough to get in. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to leave it to chance. And we've seen teams barely get into the playoffs. All you have to do is get in, just get to the playoffs, and then once you go into your own division, you can make a long run. So UCR just finish 8th higher, sneak into that Big West Conference postseason tournament, and who knows? DK hopefully will be back. Alex Larson, I know there's a big question mark on him.
He
and
wants
his
to
health.
play.
He wants to play, and we saw him out there during the shoot-around working with Tony. And he looked better, and he was moving side to side, and he was dribbling the basketball, so he's inching closer. So if this team can get to full strength, who knows? But first you got to get there. First you got to finish in the top 8.
Well, I remember, and this goes back to, I'm going to hark back to 1982 and 83. You had the old Ivy League in basketball. You had Riverside Poly, Arlington, Ramona, North, Norte Vista. That was the Ivy League. You had John W. North finished 3rd place behind Poly, Norte Vista, and North. North finished 3rd place in the Ivy League and ended up winning the CIF championship. The following year, North wins the league. Norte Vista gets 2nd. Poly gets 3rd. This is during the Reggie Miller era. And then Poly goes and wins the CIF championship. So you really, like you said, you don't have to win your league.
Yeah.
It's just, anybody can play great at any given time for a certain amount of games, 3-4 games tops.
And if all conferences in America, and I'm not just saying this, I think the Big West Conference is wide open. Like right now, who's on top? Long Beach State? I think Long Beach State's on top. But you could go back through and say, well, Santa Barbara could still win this. Well, Hawaii could still win this. Well, Davis could win this. Well, Fullerton, they could win this. Like, it's that close right now between all the teams. There's a lot of parity, and it's still wide open. So if they can just get in, it's not like UCR is that far off against all these teams. So if they can just get in, there's a good chance for the Highlanders. But again, they have to get in, and it starts tonight playing at Cal Poly. They have to beat the Mustangs to give themselves a chance. Cal Poly currently in 8th place, and UCR currently in 9th place in the Big West Conference. When we come back, we'll talk more about the Mustangs and the Highlanders getting ready for their showdown at 7 p.m. tonight at Cal Poly. Again, we are live just outside of Mott Gym, so we'll talk more about that. Also, we were going through and finding famous Cal Poly alums, right, Jeff? And also folks who are from the city of San Luis Obispo, because when we travel to these different cities, we like to give the people of the Inland Empire a little history lesson.
Of course.
What's San Luis Obispo all about? Who's famous from here? Who went to Cal Poly? So we'll give you a little history lesson. We'll talk more about the matchup, and then right around the corner, 2 of the big-time football stars here for Cal Poly, who are also Inland Empire guys. We're talking about the great Stanton Manu Maleuna and Nick Figueroa. Stanton from Norte Vista, and Big Nick, also an IE guy from Cajon High School. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. And is kicking up here just outside of Mott Gym, where the sun is beginning to set a little bit, but there's still a lot of students milling around, and hopefully we'll get a big crowd in here tonight for this contest between UCR and Cal Poly. Because again, whether the sport is basketball or even back to my soccer days, if there's nobody at your game, it's hard to get up for it. I know as a fine-tuned Division I college athlete, you're supposed to be ready for any situation or environment. But man, you go to a place like Grand Canyon, let's say, and the crowd is nuts, and they're going, they're loud and they're right on top of you and they're like all over you. Kind of get up for those moments, right? Like if the gym is silent, you can hear people like talking in the stands and the lights, the lights above like humming because they're on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to get up for those moments.
Well, I always thrived if the gym was crowded at home or on the road. It didn't bother me to play in front of angry fans because if you're playing, you tune them out.
Did you enjoy it? Like, did you?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah,
I
bring
loved
it on.
when guys would yell, "Hey, Rogaine" or "Baldy."
Wait, what would they say to you?
Oh yeah, I remember playing college games before I shaved my head. I remember shooting a free throw line. There'd be several thousand people all chanting "Rogaine."
Wait, so you started losing your hair when you were in college?
Oh, yeah.
And that's when you started shaving your
head?
head?
The day they said Rogaine and were chanting, it was the night I went back to my hotel room and shaved it all off.
Is that a true story?
True story. Got rid of it, and I've never had it back.
Where were you playing that night? Do you remember what school it was? Mean, nasty fans. That's mean-spirited.
It might have been Azusa Pacific, those angry guys.
Might have been APU?
Might have been APU.
And you went home and just shaved it all off.
I cried.
And you've never grown your hair out since?
No. Are you kidding me? It looks like a cul-de-sac.
Well, what we did is, since we're outside of the gymnasium here, the arena at Cal Poly, we took a picture of myself and Jeff and our little mobile setup here, and we put it out there on Twitter at @inland_sports, so you can check it out as well and take a sneak peek of what we're dealing with here at Cal Poly. So make sure you follow us on Twitter as well, and you can see Jeff's cul-de-sac as well.
Yeah,
underneath the headset.
I shaved my head this morning because my hair was getting long, so in the shower today, I shaved my head. I threw some Barbasol on my head and took my Bic razor.
And you did it.
I did it. So that's a great picture of me right there.
It is a great picture. So I was getting I went to the bathroom. Was it this morning? Yeah, this morning I was going to go get ready before we headed over to Cal Poly. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. The shampoo and the conditioner are still on the counter. Like, Jeff didn't grab it and take it into the shower with him. And as I'm grabbing it and getting into the shower myself, I'm like, wait, hold on. Jeff doesn't use shampoo or conditioner.
You did. You asked me. I said I use bar soap.
Yeah.
Bar soap, and I do use some nice lotion.
But it didn't hit me until I was in that moment. I'm like, wait, did he? Like I know he just took a shower. Like what? He didn't use shampoo. Like that's kind of gross. He's got to use shampoo. I was like, wait, hold on.
He didn't wash his hair.
He didn't wash his hair. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Jeff doesn't use shampoo.
I haven't been to a barber in almost 30 years. I haven't used shampoo in almost 30 years. Do you know how much money I saved?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's why I cut my own hair.
That's right.
We're both cheap.
Yeah, the only thing that costs me money is I probably have to buy extra razors here and there.
Probably go through a lot of razors.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than cutting your head, your bald head. I've sliced off, like, seriously, have you ever, you know how you trimmed potatoes, right?
Yes.
I've done that with my head.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Oh, it was absolutely horrible. I've sliced off entire pieces of
I can
my head.
picture you peeling a potato.
Yeah, peeled a potato on my head.
Oh, good Lord.
Yep.
No. So, anyways, that's Jeff and our shampoo adventure. Because again, Jeff doesn't use shampoo. He doesn't need to use shampoo.
No, I don't. No.
All right, we're getting you all set for the Heinleiters and the Mustangs tonight. We had a chance to hang out with Justin Bell for a little bit. We broke bread with him this morning, had a delicious breakfast, and had a chance to sit around with him. And again, I know people look at the record and they see that they're winless right now in the Big West Conference, and they're on a 9-game skid going back to those final 2 non-conference games of the season. But we talked to Coach Bell, still upbeat, still a smile on his face. The guys are still responding. We saw them in shoot-around, still working hard. So, Jeff, as a former head coach, I mean, at this point, even when things aren't going well, you still have that glimmer of hope. You're still being optimistic going forward. And again, going back to tonight's game, this is as close to a playoff game as you're going to get for the Highlanders.
It is. And Coach, Justin Bell is one of those guys where he fell into the job. I mean, we talked about it. What else can he really do? He can't. He's not going to put in his own stuff right away because you've already played a bunch of games. You basically just have to tinker with your lineup. And kind of continue on what they had been doing all season. So the pressure isn't as much on him because it wasn't given to be his team, but he had a really good understanding of, hey, I'm going to make my guys play as hard as they can. I'm going to pick the right guys I think that have a chance to win. And he was really optimistic, and you can't really knock him for that. A lot of head coaches are a lot different in this situation.
Yeah.
Because, they've been there. They've done, 5, 6, 7 years, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get a losing season, and it changes the way you are. And it really hasn't changed him at all. He's still an upbeat guy, still buys into every single player on his program. We talked about it. He's changed lineups. He's done everything he can to give them the best opportunity to win ball games.
Greg, this is the part of the show where you can cue up the Sarah McLachlan music because we told them about it. But you know what's funny, Jeff, as the Sarah McLachlan music gets going here, Greg Holla, the one and only, DJ Holla in the house. But we were talking to him about it, and he said about the radio show before we get into the Sarah McLachlan reasoning. But he said, he's like, hey, he's like, do people tell you about the radio show? We're like, yeah, a little bit. He says everywhere he goes, people are saying, hey, we heard you on the show. We heard you on the Inland Sports Show.
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, I went to the barber. I go to church. And they said, hey, was that you on the radio? And he was like, yeah. And he goes, and then people have said the same thing. We didn't know you were the head coach.
Yeah, we didn't know you were the head coach at UCR now. And he said it was one of those difficult things because obviously you and I, Jeff, were friends with Dennis Cutts. He's friends with Dennis Cutts. It was tough to see him go. So it was kind of a bittersweet moment. Does he want to be a head coach at the Division I level? Well, sure he does, and here's his opportunity. But not the expense to see Dennis Cutts fired. So it was kind of a bittersweet situation. So he wasn't going around town, holding his own parade saying, hey, I'm the head coach of the UCR Highlanders. So he said some people were a little slow to catch on that he was the head coach at UC Riverside. But I guess there's a lot of folks out there, and Greg says it's plain. But he said there's a lot of folks out there that heard that he was the UC Riverside head basketball coach because they listen to the Inland Sports Show, whether they're listening at the barbershop or folks that he runs to and at the congregation at church. Everyone's listening to the Inland Sports Show, and that's how people are finding out that Justin Bell's the head coach at UCR.
Yeah, we told him. I said, hey, I did a little bit on you, Coach. He goes, you did?
Yeah. Now we usher in the Sarah McLachlan music.
So I did. I said, Coach, this is what I told. I said,
and it's playing right now.
Coach, it's been 7 tough losses. I got to go home. I got to face my family. I got to look at my daughter in the eyes, my wife in the eyes, and say, did you win, Justin? No, I did not.
Hug your kids.
I'm going to give you a hug. I need both of you to give me a nice huddle of a hug. I love you guys both so much. Can you please get those giant Hershey bars that are sitting in the drawer? Maybe some Baker's chocolate, the bitter stuff.
Bittersweet ones.
Let's just melt. Let me melt it, put it in a bowl. Let me just drink myself with a little sugar tonight. And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to put my head on that pillow. And I'm gonna feel really bad about myself until that good episode of Seinfeld comes on. I'll snap out of it, honey, but right now it's a difficult time for me. Alex Larson's hurt. Dikembe Martin's
he's out.
He's gone. Guys, I got to look at Menno Dykstra. He barely speaks English. He just shoots 3-pointers, and then I look over at Eric Walry. I really have a hard time saying his name. And I say, hey, Eric, get in the ball game. Okay, Coach, I'll make a few threes. But not enough threes to get that victory. But next week when we play Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and we're playing the Mustangs in that gym that looks like the bottom of a battleship, I'm going to get a victory. I'm going to bring home a victory to you, honey, and to our daughter who knows her dad's a winner. The Highlanders are winners. And by gosh darn it, I'm a winner. I love you guys. I love the Highlanders.
And the good news is Justin Bell thought it was funny.
He did.
He thought it was funny because apparently people at his church, people at the barber shop, everyone's going back to him and telling him what we've been saying about him on the radio. So I want him to hear good things.
Oh, yeah.
So now we're in front of this one. So the Sarah McLachlan music playing, again, all very sad. We want to see them get their first win of the season. We don't like them on a 9-game skid. You know, it's like a late-night infomercial where you see the sad dogs and cats.
No, but
we don't like it.
But if you're gonna lose and you're gonna take it fun and be fun about it, Justin Norman, Coach Bell, you're gonna be my punching bag for fun because you guys can take it, man. It's fun and funny, I should say. But I will say this:
What?
I'm walking around the other day and the mailman said, "Hey, are you the guy on the radio show?" And I said, I looked at him, I said, "What? Are you the guy on the radio show?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "I love your show." I said, "No, you don't. You're crazy." He goes, "No, I love your show. I used to listen to the other guys, and you guys are really good." I said, "Yeah, you must be listening to
the Loose Cannons."
Yeah, he said,
better than the Loose Cannons.
Yeah, I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." So yeah, people are listening. I got mailmen listening.
Just like the Loose Cannons, but better. Is what they're saying.
Yeah, they're not as. You know, I am salty, but I'm not as salty as those guys.
No, those guys are just
Yeah.
Doom and gloom. Glass half full.
Yes,
we're glass half full. They're glass. Half empty.
Yes, they are.
Over in the Loose Cannons. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, Jeff, we're going to talk about some famous Cal Poly alums and some famous folks from San Luis Obispo because, again, it's our duty to educate the IE and give them some history lessons on all the different places we go. So we'll do that when we come back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. run of success here with Cal Poly Athletics and the teams that have come through here. And again, from John Madden and the video games all the way up until football, baseball. Excuse me, Robin Ventura and Ozzie Smith, Chuck Liddell. And so there's been a lot of huge names that have come through Cal Poly. And again, tonight we're talking basketball, though, as the Highlanders will take on the Mustangs in a Big West Conference play. And so many famous athletes that have come through here. And again, Jeff's favorite, Weird Al Yankovic. So if Greg's back at the station and has a little bit of Weird Al on the wall, go ahead and crank that up, because Weird Al Yankovic, yes, was a Cal Poly student here. And Jeff even was talking about him recording his first song in the dorms here at Cal Poly. So a lot of big name folks and athletes and musicians, actors. They've had a little bit of everything from around here. So anyways, we're excited to be here at Cal Poly. Again, it's the Highlanders and the Mustangs coming up tonight. And Jeff and I will have the call, 7 o'clock, GoHighlanders.com. It's also a Big West TV game as well, so be sure to check that out. And again, as we bring you a history lesson here from Cal Poly for the folks of the Inland Empire, the list of the most notable alums from Cal Poly and San Luis Obispo natives: Weird Al Yankovic, Zac Efron, John Madden, Robin Ventura, Ozzie Smith, and Chuck Liddell. And Jeff, you were saying Weird Al, made music here on campus.
Cut his teeth here on campus, recorded his biggest hit, My Bologna.
My Bologna.
Yes.
So he always does the spoofs, and I wonder what inspired him to do that, to play off of other hit songs.
Hey, there's a niche. He found his niche.
He did.
He's the king of niches and the king of parodies.
So we have Weird Al, of course, and then John Madden from video game fame, baseball players like Ozzie Smith, and Chuck Liddell, who was a wrestler here at Cal Poly, and then went on to be a huge star in the UFC. So we're about halfway through. We're approaching the final hour here of the Inland Sports Show. When we come back, we'll have some special guests, including Stanton Manu Maleuna from the Cal Poly football team, as well as Nick Figueroa. Nick from Cajon High School, and then also Stanton from Norte Vista High School. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.